The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Happy weekend to you. We have an excellent show coming up for you today. But first, allow me to introduce you to my beautiful co-host, as always, Makaila Nichols. Hello, Makaila. How are you?
Great. How are you?
You are the voice of the people at home. You're not a lawyer. I am a lawyer. You're here to ask the questions that the people at home might have, that I might know the answer to, and I don't ask.
Yeah, and I don't have the answer. That's why I'm asking.
That's right.
We'll see if you can answer them.
That's why we keep you around. Also, remember, we are here live for you. If you have any legal questions at all, the phone number will be on the screen during the entire show, 321-282-1055. Here's what's coming up. Now, we talk on this show a lot about people who have tax problems. We help you through those tax problems. You owe money to the IRS. That's obviously very scary. But did you know that there is a way to avoid having tax problems altogether? I know your theory on this. Your theory is hire a bookkeeper, an accountant, a double accountant, a triple accountant. You kind of overdo it a little bit. That we know how to not have tax problems, pay your taxes, right? But when you invest or you sell a business or you've had an influx of cash, there are things that you can do to prevent having to pay significant amounts of taxes, but do it the legal way and protect your wealth. John Ledford will be here for the first time, Fortress Wealth Group, to talk about how to not only earn money on your money, but also to earn money and save taxes at the same time. It's going to be a hell of a show today. Are you ready?
I am.
Here's what we're going to do, a very quick break. When we return, John Ledford from Fortress Wealth Group will join us here on Behind the Law.
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. As we enter hurricane season, is your house protected? Is your family protected? Those windows on your home are so important. Renewal by Andersen is here. Dan Brigman, how are you, Dan? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, Justin. Thanks for asking.
A lot of people have memories of hurricanes, and do they just hear the windows going like this and this? I mean, a lot of windows out there are not safe right now. What should we do?
First thing you got to do is you got to have somebody out and have those windows inspected. Look, if you've had even just a windstorm come through and you've heard the vibration or even the whistle of the wind, you need to have us out. We need to look at it.
The QR code is on the screen right now. Dan brought a special gift for only you. Dan, if they hit the QR code, what are you going to offer?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that, but we've got the brand new Coastal product out, and we are doing something that will happen again, and it's buy one and get 40% off the next. And that's a Coastal product. And as you know, Coastal can be a security window also, sure, not just a storm protection window. So it's an incredible deal. I'm excited about it. I'm kind of worried how we're going to see everybody, but we'll make it happen.
I love it. So a lot of times, though, your windows do need work. But here's what's going on. What we've noticed about people we've sent to renewal is the electricity bills have come down so much once they put the new windows that they pay for themselves.
Oh, yeah, yes, they do. You take your house, it's roughly about 28 to 30% glass. Mm-hmm. And you have sun hitting three sides of your house. If you don't stop that sun from coming in, your electric bill will never slow down. By putting a Renewal by Andersen window in there, you can save anywhere from 25 to 40% in your electric bill. You put that in with your payment. 10 years, your windows you're making more on your return with us than you are with investments.
Well, Dan, great job. Call Renewal by Andersen or hit the QR code on your screen now. Welcome back to the show. We talk often about taxes and you owing money to the IRS and how scary it is and options that you have to deal with your tax problems that keep you up at night. But taxes are a major issue for those of you who are looking to invest money as well. And how do you legally, I'm trying to be just honest without sounding too weird here, right? We want to pay as little.
Weird. What?
We want to pay as little as we can in taxes. At the end of the day, we do, but we also want to do it legally and not get in trouble. And this really comes into play when you deal with your wealth, with your investments. How do you invest, but also take advantage of tax savings? I don't want to say loopholes. I mean, this is the law, and these are the ways that we avoid paying too much in taxes. When it comes to dealing with your taxes and your investments, John Ledford is really the man to talk to. Fortress Wealth Group. John, welcome to the show. First time on this program. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Thanks to both of you.
I was trying to dance around this issue, obviously, and I didn't know how to do it without
that was a
the
little
government
rough.
calling me.
Yes,
but,
right.
But it's true. I mean, when we invest, we want to save we want to earn as much money as we can, so we also want to pay as little in taxes as we can.
Sure.
How do you advise people on that?
Well, I think first of all, you got to start kind of where you did. You know, over 100 years ago, one of the Supreme Court justices said it's the responsibility of every American to so arrange their financial portfolio in a way so as to pay the least amount in taxes. That's Supreme Court over 100 years ago. Forbes recently released an article that said that 9 out of 10 taxpayers overpay their taxes. And I tell you, I meet new people every single day who come to us with wide-ranging portfolios and tax issues, and I can tell you that I would concur with that 9 out of 10 assessment. And it is not an issue of loopholes, as you said. It's not an issue of gray areas. It's an issue of black and white. There's a lot that exists in the tax code that says if you do this, that is the result, and it typically is a benefit of you reducing your tax liability, and we do it all day, every day.
A lot of people seem to trust these wealth managers, financial advisors, or whatever, the big box stores, as I would say, that they see on television.
Sure.
And it seems to me, and what scares me a little bit, is people do call that 1-800 number and they give them their money, and they're really focused on, okay, we want to put it in this product, this product.
Yeah.
Why that product? Why are some of these other financial advisors pushing these certain products over really looking at the totality of someone's financial circumstance?
I think that's exactly it, is that a lot of those big box stores, as you mentioned, they're narrow in their focus. If their company has a widget that they can advise on, then they advise on the widget. If there's 29 other widgets that might be a better fit for that particular client, they're not going to get that advice from that advisor because it's not in their slew of options available to them. And so I think it's critically important. You know, Fortress is independently owned. We serve our clients and our family. You know, we have no other marching orders. And so I think it's really important to work with a completely independent advisor who does have the ability, the skill set, the team in place to be able to view the totality of someone's financial situation and give them truly objective advice.
I'm going to go ahead and put this QR code on the screen for you right now, or call the phone number. Any questions for John right now, 321-282-1055. And it occurs to me that, you know, in life and business life, there are, you know, a lot of people have a regular W-2 job, and they kind of get the same amount, increases a little bit every year. But for those of us that are self-employed or maybe have had a big real estate hit over the last couple of years, there are years where we have a good, solid financial gain.
Yes.
And those years can be very, very scary too. It feels great when it happens.
Right.
When April 15th of the next year rolls around, you're like, what? What just happened here?
Right.
And when you're going to have a good year business-wise, you take a company public, you sell your business.
Yes.
These are extra special years for someone that they really need to plan for. What can I do?
Right. Yeah, so we talk about it in terms of transaction and transition. Most people, if you're retiring, most people retire once. In our office, we retire a couple dozen times a month. We have a lot of clients who are going through that process. If you have a business that you birthed, if I was selling my business, I'm probably going to sell my business one time. We did 11 transactions in our office last year, large-scale people selling their companies. And so we do this stuff a lot, but you're exactly right. And what we see happen is we see that a lot of times people outgrow their advisor, whether it be tax, investment, or other, or even legal. A lot of times they outgrow them and they don't really know it until there is a large transaction or a big transitory event. And so oftentimes it's not uncommon that someone will come and see me and they've already met with their CPA, they've already met with their attorney, they've got a business sale or something coming up, or they're selling a piece of land or even liquidating crypto, whatever it might be. But they've met with their traditional advisors, but they're sitting around someone's table at home, their buddies, they're hanging out with their buddies, and one of their buddies says, you know what, before you go further, I'd really like for you to reach out to the guys at Fortress Wealth, because when I did my transaction a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it is, they saved me thousands to millions of dollars on the transaction. And so they'll come in and sit in my office, and on a whiteboard, usually in 20 minutes, we'll show them how to make their taxes go away. And we've got about 20 or so strategies we utilize over and over and over and over. We have for years. And we can do a lot to reduce, augment, eliminate, defer taxes, whatever it might be, depending on the situation.
Got it. And you always hear about financial advisors, certified financial planners, whatever. They're always talking about, well, I got my clients 5% return this year or 7% return. And that's all great. I mean, you know, we love that.
Yes.
But when you start thinking about when you add in that additional tax savings you have, I mean, these numbers start skyrocketing. And then really year after year, we're increasing wealth at a very large rate.
Yeah, the compounding effect is pretty astronomical. And I have a new client actually coming in tomorrow morning, and he was referred by one of our other clients, and he has a pretty substantial investment portfolio. He also has 3 financial advisors. He worked with all 3 of them for over a decade. First thing we did is look at his income. So we didn't jump right into the investments and criticize everybody. Where's his income coming from? He's got Social Security, required minimum distributions on an IRA, some rental properties, and then he's got a little bit of money coming from a bond portfolio. Interesting thing we found and we noticed immediately was when you look at his income versus his expenses, he's living on about half of what he's actually earning. That's good. That's a thumbs up. The downside is he's actually paying taxes on 100% of what he's earning. And we showed him a couple simple techniques, solar credits, asset location change, instead of taking his required minimum distribution, gifting that to his favorite charity. And by the time we reworked his income statement, we cut his tax liability in half. So I only have to be a little good on the investment side to beat everybody else once I've saved that kind of money. Thankfully, we're really great on the investment side, but more and more of our conversations are, we've produced already 5, 6, 10% net yield on the tax side, and we only get better after that on the investment side as well.
Why do you think so many advisors out there are not looking at the totality of things and not focusing so much on this tax saving?
I think a lot of it's expertise. A lot of people don't have tax expertise. A lot of attorneys that I work with don't have great math skills.
Take it easy, buddy.
right. But
run you right out of here. But you're right.
But right, a lot of times, it's rare that you find an attorney that has an undergrad in finance or accounting, and they really understand business from that standpoint. And so it's just a matter of expertise. A lot of advisors are trained the way they were trained. They don't have expertise in tax, or they work for a big box like you mentioned earlier. They're not allowed to engage in tax strategic planning because it's not part of the offering of the firm.
How would you hire a financial planner who is not even allowed to advise you on tax, right?
No one knows. No one reads that section of the agreement that embedded in there says they're not allowed to give tax advice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
But yeah, it's just an interesting quirk of our business, and we love it because it just creates great more opportunity for us.
Yeah.
But it is the way the industry's run today. There are very few financial advisors who are versed in tax. There are very few tax advisors who are versed in finance and investments.
We got to know you better, Makaila and I, and had dinner with your lovely wife and you, and because I wanted to really get to know what you guys did. But before I say, okay, I want you to give your money to John.
Thank you.
But we trust you guys. We really do. But you're not a one-size-fits-all firm. You're not. We were sitting in a restaurant. You said, I have clients that have invested in this restaurant.
Right.
You really have an approach that's different for every single client. And I find that interesting, and I think that people like that. It's one thing to say, okay, we're going to put all the money in this 401k. That's not that difficult to do. I mean, you really create a system for investing that makes your clients happy.
Yeah, we have I call it a very varied offering. I tell people oftentimes I'm allergic to one word in the English dictionary, and that's the word no. And so, we've tried to design our offering, our value offering, so that no doesn't come into play. And so we work with a lot of very, very wealthy clients, but we also work with the children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews of those very wealthy clients. And sometimes those people don't have a ton of money. And so what we don't want to say to those people is, no, we can't work with you because you don't fit some kind of box that we're looking for.
Right.
And so it forces us to be very agile in our offering and our approach, but also very intimate, which is ultimately what we want anyway. Someone did a study for us recently and told us that 53% of our client base is multi-generational. That shocked me. I had absolutely no idea, but 53%. We work with more vendors to financial services than any advisor I know of. A lot of them are clients of ours. We just have a very unique approach that says, listen, we're a lot more interested in where you're going than where you are today. And if you're the type of person that is going somewhere, we want to help you get there faster, more efficiently, more effectively.
How does it feel when you sit with someone? Maybe it's the daughter of one of the rich clients or whatever, and she started out with not not a lot as a 28-year-old kid or something like that.
Yep.
And then you see her again when she's 35 and 40.
Yeah.
And then you see that statement, you see that wealth grow. How does that make you feel as someone who's an important part of their life?
Well, it's immensely rewarding to see these multi-generational things happen. And it also underscores something I was told years ago that I didn't believe to be true. And that is that many times the attitudes and the practices of the parents get passed down to the kids, whether they want it to or not. And that's a good and bad.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we see these family stewards that are really, really great at business. And then their kids, almost just by absorption, become equally as great. And so it's really awesome to work with younger folks. I think we're young too, but but I mean, it's really great to work and see people that started with next to nothing and accomplish great things. It's immensely rewarding.
When you do work with the children of the rich guy, let's say a rich gal.
Sure.
I grew up blue collar. Okay,
Sure.
everything we did, I did my own. I grew up with love. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't have any money. We had no money.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
not afraid to say that.
Same thing.
I was jealous of the person who had the dad with all the dough.
Yes.
But do you find that those children generally are hardworking, or is it sort of a mixed bag?
That is
It's a
such
great-
a loaded
I'm
question.
I was going to say.
My bad. Not your client.
No,
Doing that to
you mean
John
other
like
people.
that.
No,
That was
No, it's interesting because we work with a younger client set than most people in our business.
Yeah.
Most of our clients they're first generation wealth creators.
Okay.
So very few of our clients are trust fund kids and people who receive money through any reason other than their own hard work. And so what we see is we do see an interesting change in attitude from generation to generation. And so the second generation is usually not as motivated as the first generation, because they just don't have to be, right? But oftentimes the attitudes and the sense of stewardship is still there, but they approach things in a little bit different way. And so it's taken me a while. We do a lot of family meetings with our clients, and so we'll get multi-generations in a room together. And what we want to do is not just transfer money, but we want to transfer values through the generations. And it's hard to do that if you're not talking about it actively, purposefully. We do see a lot of generational shift, and it's kind of fun and interesting. And one of my favorite clients years ago, a very large family, I think they had 40, mom and dad had 40 kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, etc. And every year we would have a giving session where I would sit in a room with the two of them, and they would basically meet out their likes and dislikes about all their different family members, and then from that decide how much money to give to them.
Nice.
And it was very fascinating and an interesting time. But we see it both ways. The attitudes of the parents can get a little bit crusty because they don't think Johnny's responsible enough. Johnny can get a little crusty because he doesn't think mom and dad are generous enough. It's interesting. I think, like most things, it's important to talk about these things openly and really have open dialogue, and things tend to work themselves out.
Got it. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, we know we're in a very weird political climate. We hear banks are failing. Some of us have some reservations about crypto or even the stock market. What is going on in this market, in this investing world right now, and what should you do with your money? John Ledford will answer those questions when we return after this quick break as Behind the Law continues.
Have you been threatened by the IRS? You are not helpless. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and fight levies on your accounts. I'm Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
Do I ever have a very special gift for you today? Compliments our good friends over at Universal Roof and Contracting. 15% off your roofing job. The roof is the most important part of your house. No doubt about it. Welcome my good friends as always, Justin and Corey. Hi, how are you today?
Good, man, good. Thank you.
The roof is the most important part of the house, but sometimes deciding who your roofing company is going to be is the most important decision as well. Culture is everything. When determining who's going to do your roofing job, Universal, the culture over there blows me away. Trustworthy. Tell me about the culture at Universal.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years in the making, right? Family-owned, veteran-owned, same name and ownership over the past 3 decades. We're so proud to be so rooted in Orlando, and we have offices in Jacksonville and Southwest Florida, but the honest approach, the integrity we carry, working transparently with insurance companies and homeowners alike. I mean, we approach roofing the way an honest company really should.
Trusted by some of the biggest sports teams in Florida as well.
That's right. That's right. We this past season we were the one of the partners with the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was awesome. They had a great season this year too. And then just coming next month, the XFL, the Orlando Guardians. We are the official roofer for the Orlando Guardians, so we're excited to go out to those games and see everybody there. So it'll be great.
A roof can be expensive. You created great programs to make this roof not cost prohibitive for me.
Yeah, I mean, last thing we're going to do is take food off people's plates to afford a roof. So we have a ton of flexible financing plans that just keeps things very liquid for homeowners, even if they don't want to use their own money, even if they have it at the time, so we offer that as well for every roof replacement.
I have this QR code on the screen right now. Get your phone out or go to their website, but the QR code will go directly to Justin and Corey, and literally you get 15% off. But guys, you're going to come to my house and tell me what I really need, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah. Free inspection, first of all. It does cost nothing for us to come out. We're going to sit down with you, hear what you like about your roof, what you don't like about your roof, what problems you've had, and come up with a custom scope of work that makes sense for you.
Always a pleasure to see you both. There's only one company we trust when it comes to roofing. That is Universal Roof and Contracting. Welcome back to the show. I know, look, we're all scared about investing and our life savings. What do we do with it right now? You might have tried crypto. We'll see how that went. You hear about these banks failing. A lot of you are nervous about investing, and I don't blame you. And that's why we wanted to have John Ledford here, Fortress Wealth Group. John, a lot of people are scared right now. Why are people so scared right now?
Well, I think it's a couple things. One is the headline news is not too exciting when you see massive banks failing, right? That doesn't make anyone have a sense of confidence relative to the overall economy. I think secondly, we're also very inundated with technology, meaning my Apple Watch that buzzes every 10 seconds, and our cell phones that constantly grip our attention. And so if you think about investors today versus investors 30 years ago, it was a much slower pace. The information exchange happened a lot less frequently than it does today. And all those things really do a lot of cool things, but they also ramp up anxiety. And so there's a lot of anxiousness relative to investing. The last thing I would say is a lot of people don't have a really well thought out, constructed long-term investment plan. And one of the things I think a great financial advisor can do for someone is help them craft a great plan and encourage them to stay fully committed to that plan, even when it gets scary and dark and all those type things. It's kind of like now.
How would you compare the fear that we experience now versus, say, 2008?
So 2008 was radically different from my lens. In 2008, we had a leverage issue that was really, really out of control. And so the packaging of these subprime mortgages was bad enough, and then levering them up 30 times was even worse. And so we had an environment in 2008 in which every bank in the country was technically insolvent.
Right.
We don't have that today, thankfully. We don't have as much leverage in the system today as we had back then, and we don't have as many corrupt tools now as we had back then. And so it's a completely different environment. We don't have anywhere near, as a firm, we don't have anywhere near the level of concern about the markets and the economy moving forward as we did back then. Biggest concern today is really the debt ceiling, and it's looming within the next couple of weeks. And so that's really top of mind for most people.
Yeah. My biggest concern really for you is that you don't have someone that you trust. Maybe you have even a bunch of money sitting in a checkings or savings account, literally earning no money whatsoever, or maybe you have an advisor who you don't trust right now. The QR code is right there on the screen, or the phone number is 321-282-1055. John Ledford, totally free consultation with him, and we trust him. And John, I think that when you talk about your money, it's, for most people, it's health is number one. Money's number two, because when the money starts to go away, it can even affect your mental health and there are physical manifestations of that as well. I think trust when it comes to who's handling your money, who's handling your wealth is so important.
It's the most important commodity, and we talked on a previous time that we believe that not only should planning be personalized, but it should be personal. It should be intimate, and I have a typical day, I might have 2 or 3 meetings, I might have 2 or 3 phone calls with clients, new and prospective and old clients. And the vast majority of those conversations are about intimate things relative to what's going on in their lives. We, of course, want to talk about the structure of their portfolio, how they're positioned relative to the economy, are they achieving their goals? We cover those things. But a lot of that stuff, ultimately, in a long-term relationship is just math at the end of the day.
Right.
What's really important is what's going on in their lives, whether it's their life, their grandkids. You know, earlier today I heard from one couple of their 9th grandchild that just graduated from college
Wow.
last week, and they're all celebrating. And I mean, those are the things. That's the reason why we have money, to celebrate things like that and do cool stuff.
Yeah. How does that conversation first go? So let's say I don't know what to do with my money.
Sure.
I see you on TV. Hey, John, it's Justin here.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly what I want to do. How does that first consultation really go?
Well, I think it's a great question because it underscores the totality of the relationship right out of the gate. You don't know, but we do.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're the financial Sherpa, right? I mean, you don't know how to get up the mountain.
Right.
We've been up and down the mountain hundreds, if not thousands of times. And so usually what happens with us is every relationship starts the same way. It's either a Zoom call, a call, or in the office. It's usually 60 minutes in length. And during those 60 minutes, you come with financial statements and tax returns, and we spend time just talking. I see this, I see that. Why did you buy this? Why did you buy that? You know, what you're thinking about crypto, whatever it might be. But we try and spend a ton of time. I ask a lot of questions. I encourage people to ask me a lot of questions. And the real goal is to determine really 3 things. Do we like each other? Because it's so important that we like each other, right? Do you have a problem that we can effectively solve for you? And that's a question that we work on through the process. And then lastly, is our value proposition significant relative to the problems you want us to solve? Is it a fit? And if we can solve those 3 things, which usually we do in the first meeting, then we write a prescription and say, if we were to work together, here's what it would look like, and we kind of take it from there. But again, myself and my team, we've done it thousands of times, so we know where to go. You can't throw me off script. I know where I'm going.
So real quick, crypto, what are your thoughts? When I say crypto, what do you think?
Sure. So crypto, it's interesting because I share with clients, as an American living in America, we have a lot of natural mental barriers. So if you start to think as a non-American, maybe you're in a part of the world where you've never seen a bank. You've never seen power lines. You've never seen what we would consider infrastructure. Your entire life outside of your family lives on this little few-inch device that sits in your hand, and from there, your entire world is open to you. For that person to think about a digital currency or a crypto, very, very simple. Their entire world is digital. So we've got much greater adoption of crypto in the third world and developing countries than we do domestically. So my thought, and the advice we give clients over and over, and it's blanket, broad advice, so I'm pretty solid giving it to anybody. I'm a believer that about 2% at most of your liquid net worth ought to be in crypto, because 10 years from now, it's either going to be worth a lot of money and you're going to be really, really glad you bought it, or it's not going to be worth anything, and if you've got a great plan, it's not going to matter.
Beautiful. John Ledford, excellent job as always. Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you.
And what?
What?
You
Go
know
ahead.
what we're doing next? What are we doing next?
We're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna share what we learned. I learned a lot since I didn't really, get to chime in.
We'll come back and wrap it up as always with what did we learn?
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
And as always today, we wrap it up with what did we learn? Makaila.
I learned a lot. I mean, you obviously have to trust John with your money. They're a great guy, great family, very knowledgeable. I love the personal approach. So, if I'm going to give you my money, we better be friends, because why not?
And the more you save on taxes while you invest, the more money you're going to have at the end of the day. Great job as always, Makaila Nichols.
Thanks,
and
Justin Clark.
Thank you to our amazing crew here. Most importantly, thank you for joining us here this weekend and every weekend. See you again next Saturday for more Behind the Law.
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.